If you have deep pockets, the sky's the limit for living in Italy. But is it still possible on a tight budget? In this report, I'll share the cost to retire early in Brindisi, Italy, including rent, utilities, groceries, restaurants, transportation, and other expenses for low to middle range living costs. As I share what we learned this summer in Italy, I'll show you the video Chung and I took while our feet were on the ground here. We continued traveling south through the heel of the boot of Italy and stopped to survey the cost of living in Brindisi. We visited many cities in the heel of the boot while we were in this southern part of Italy. Next week I'll share my favorite place and where I would live if I decided to retire in the cheap part of southern Italy. Subscribe if you want to know when that video goes live. I've lived in or visited 73 countries over the last 18 years since leaving the United States. I go back to the US every other year or so for a week or so. Instead, I slowly move forward through the world buying one-way tickets as I investigate the best places to retire on a budget overseas. We used the trains in Italy to get from city to city as we traveled south. The historic centers of the city in Italy are beautiful and walkable. The main train station in each city is very close to the historic centers, so we just walked everywhere. Brindisi has a natural port that has accentuated its historical significance, and ferries run from Brindisi to cities that are on the Adriatic and the Mediterranean seas. The Greek geographer Strabo, who surveyed the Mediterranean when Christ was alive, believed that Brindisi was first populated by a tribe from Crete. Crete is one of the largest islands in modern-day Greece. Others believe Brindisi was first populated in 247 BC by the Romans. During the early Roman period, 100,000 people lived in Brindisi. Today, about 90,000 people live here. In the last 50 years, archaeologists have carbon dated a Bronze Age village in Brindisi to about 1600 BC. But like most cities on the Adriatic Sea, Brindisi has been the victim of war and has been passed around like a hot potato for a few thousand years. It would be a fool's errand to try to summarize 4,000 years of history in this report, so I'll just provide a map and comments of some significant historical sites in the written report at the first link below this video. I will share my retirement desirability factors such as visa, medical, walkability, internet, food, weather, things to do, social considerations, expat community, real estate, and my overall retirement desirability score for Brindisi. But first, I want to share my estimated cost of living converted into US dollars if the two of us move to Brindisi, Italy year-round on a tight budget. We'll also include more typical expenses that other expats would spend to give you another data point. Okay, estimated cost to retire in Brindisi, Italy. The penthouse for rent shown is advertised for 550 euros or 571 US dollars per month for a long-term lease agreement in the city center. If you rent for a shorter period of time on Airbnb, it would be much more expensive. If you rent a larger apartment long-term, the rent would be higher, starting around 950 US per month on up, depending upon size and area. The dollar-euro conversion rate varies over time. Okay, here's the process we use to find great apartments. Link provided. So we'll show you a table of all the expenses we're talking about in a moment. We'll use $571 per month for our lower estimate and $950 per month for the middle cost of living estimate for expats who want a little more space. If you're willing to ride public transportation or a car 30 minutes outside of Central, you could easily save 20 to 30% on rent and many other things. Utilities. We estimate the year-round average for our utilities would be about $90 per month. The utilities would cost more for the larger space, starting at around $130 per month. By the way, you don't need to take notes. There's a 16-page written report with all of this in writing at the first link in the notes below this video. Okay, groceries. When possible, we would purchase fruits and vegetables from the farmer's market or local market in town, small shops and street vendors to save money. But we would also shop in grocery stores for non-perishable foods and other things like shampoo and detergent. We estimate around $360 per month for groceries. Other expats are likely to shop more often in the expensive grocery stores, often spending more than $460 per month on groceries.
If you'd like my free ebook about how I fired my boss and traveled the world for 17 years and how I pay for things, come to Vagabond Buddha and grab the free ebook.
Okay, restaurants. We would eat out twice per week, mostly in more local style restaurants a few blocks back from the tourist areas for 12 to 15 US per meal per person, and 1 or 2 splurges per month of 19 to 26 US per meal per person. If you add all that up, we would spend around $310 per month for the two of us in restaurants. We may have a beer here and there, but that's covered below under alcohol. Okay, other expats are likely to eat more often at expensive expat-style restaurants and tourist restaurants and less in local-style restaurants, so they would likely spend more like $450 per month for 2 people in restaurants. It is lifestyle dependent. Okay, cell phone data. The cost to get a prepaid SIM card for your unlocked smartphone is about 26 US per month. Other expats are likely to buy 2 prepaid SIM cards, so they would spend about $52 per month. Laundry. Our temporary apartment in Brindisi had no clothes washing machine, but the example long-term furnished apartment above did, so we would add another $10 a month for laundry detergent. Actually, that's included in our grocery estimate. Okay, drinking water. We didn't see reverse osmosis delivery in 20-liter jugs here, so we would probably get a Brita water filter for the refrigerator. The filter refills would be about 5 US per month. Actually, we've been traveling with the same Brita water filter as we head south through Europe. Okay, internet. 80 megabits per second up and down is about 26 US dollars for in-home Wi-Fi. Transportation. Brindisi has the local public transportation monthly pass, which normally costs 36 euros per month. It's only 26 euros for pensioners or retirees. So it would cost us 62 euros per month for the two of us, or 69 US dollars. Okay, alcohol. Domestic beer in the Lidl grocery store in Brindisi is 0.69 euros for a half liter. That works out to about 55 US cents for a standard size can of beer in the US in terms of quantity and price. In bars and restaurants, domestic beer ranges from about 3 to 6 US. So we estimate around 120 per month on alcohol for the two of us. Many other expats would spend a higher amount for imported foreign or craft beers in convenience stores, bars, and restaurants, so we estimate about 300 per month for 2 people, assuming they do not drink imported whiskey or wine. Entertainment, which is optional, of course, we would budget about 200 per month for entertainment for the two of us. We generally enjoy more do-it-yourself kinds of entertainment, so other expats might spend a little more, maybe 300 per month for the two of them. Okay, let's add it all up. Brindisi, Italy, for the lower estimate, rent $571, utilities $90, this is in US dollars. Groceries $360, restaurants $340, cell data $26, laundry $10, drinking water $5, internet $26, transportation $69, for a total basic cost of $1,497 per month. If you add the optional alcohol of $120 and the optional entertainment of 200, it would put you at $1,817 per month. For middle cost of living, with the $950 rent and more for groceries and restaurants and other things, the basic cost would be $2,192 per month. If you add the optional alcohol and entertainment, it would put you at $2,782 per month. We gathered this data with our feet on the ground here in August of 2024, so adjust for inflation after that. The above lower estimated cost of living would be if the two of us lived in Brindisi on a tight budget. The middle estimate is just an example of what more typical expats might spend if they moved here. To understand what it would cost you to live here, you must put your feet on the ground in Brindisi, see how you would choose to live, eat, and entertain yourself, and add it all up. It doesn't matter what anyone else spends because we are all different. Okay, Brindisi, Italy, livability factors. Before you move anywhere outside your home country, make sure to create a list of things that you must have for your happy retirement. Here are my livability factors, and I will rank each as high, medium, or low before assigning an overall retirement desirability score to Brindisi. Walkability, high. We walked everywhere in Brindisi. We love the historic center of Brindisi because we rarely needed to walk more than 30 minutes to get where we needed for everyday purposes. Plus, walking is the healthiest way to stay in shape as we age. Internet is high. The in-home Wi-Fi in our apartment was 36 megabits per second down and 22 megabits per second up. Good enough for us to do Zoom calls, upload YouTube videos, and watch Netflix. We were also able to use our cell phones as hotspots when we are out of the house together. Okay, food, medium. The restaurants in tourist areas are priced higher than restaurants 4 to 6 blocks away. You'll find smaller family-owned restaurants in neighborhoods a few blocks back from the tourist areas with dishes for 7 to 12 euros, which is about $7.25 to $12.50 US, whereas you can easily pay double that in the tourist areas. If we lived here, we would have a tendency to cook more at home than we would in other parts of the world because the restaurants are more expensive here than other parts of the world. Weather, I would say high. Daily highs average from 56 Fahrenheit, which is 13 Celsius in January, up to 85 Fahrenheit, which is 29 Celsius in July. Nightly lows average from 44 Fahrenheit, which is 7 Celsius in January, to 71 Fahrenheit, which is 22 Celsius in July. The best weather is May through August. The rainy season is September through April, with November receiving the most rain. Things to do. High. The hill of the boot in Italy is called Puglia. Many parts of Italy have become very expensive, in part because of international tourism. Luckily, Puglia is not one of the hot international tourist spots in Italy. International tourism tends to force prices higher, forcing the locals and lower prices outside the tourist areas. Brindisi seems to have more regional and local tourism, so it's one of the more cost-effective places to live in Italy. That said, the smaller, less known towns scattered about Puglia are even cheaper. Brindisi has everything you would expect in a beautiful ancient city on the Adriatic Sea, such as swimming, scuba, beaches, boat tours, kayaking, stand-up boarding, live music, people watching, nightlife, professional soccer, cultural tours, coffee shops, tennis courts, shopping, opera, golf, and a ton of documented ancient history to explore. Social considerations. English is not widely spoken in Brindisi. It is not unusual to find English speakers in tourist-facing businesses, especially in central Brindisi. If you intend on retiring here, you should learn some Italian for a more full life. I've met many expats overseas who have used Duolingo, the free language smartphone application, to learn various languages. Okay, safety considerations. Other than day trips to nearby cities, we spent all of our time exploring central Brindisi. We felt safe here. Online, we read that Brindisi is generally a safe city with the exception of petty crime. Nothing valuable should be in an unsecured pocket, front or back, and don't leave valuables out in the open. Also, the U.S. State Department issues travel advisories for each part of the world which you should be aware of. Italy is level 2 right now. Exercise, increase caution. We often travel to level 2 locations, so that was not a concern for us, but you should be aware nevertheless. Italy is ranked 33rd on the Global Peace Index for 2024, which is much safer than the USA, which is ranked 132nd in the world. Here are my thoughts on how to remain safe all over the world. There's a separate report on that. Again, there's links to all this at the first link in the notes below this video. Expats community. Here's a Facebook page that caters explicitly to English-speaking expats living in Brindisi. These online expat communities are great for learning things that expats want to learn when they first move overseas. You'll find that someone has answered your questions often, so don't waste your time asking again before searching for and reading already answered questions. Here is another Facebook page for all of Puglia, the Hill of the Boot, in case you have a more regional question for this part of Italy. Okay, medical. I would say hi. The Healthcare International Comparison Index ranks Italy 17th in the world, which is dramatically better than the United States, which ranks 69th. There are different ways healthcare is rated, but this one seems to be considering not only the quality of care, but also what patients are charged. If you decide to move here, make sure to ask around for referrals and establish relationships with doctors for your special needs based on the feedback you have gotten from others who have used their services. The above expat Facebook pages may be a good source for that sort of information. Also, the best insurance policy and coverage are often local, so get a few quotes from local insurance agents you find by asking expats on the above Facebook pages. Tourist visa. I would say hi. Italy is in the Schengen visa area. A visa-free entry is still allowed for Americans and other citizens of some non-EU nations for a short temporary visit of up to 90 days in any 180-day period to a country in the Schengen area. To know if you are a citizen of one of the visa-free entry countries, check this webpage, link provided. However, entry into the EU will eventually require an online registration even for the visa-free countries. So double check when and if that registration has been enacted before booking any non-refundable tickets. Link to that also. We were both allowed visa-free entry and had both proof of exit tickets and accommodations ready to show officials upon entry into Italy, but they did not ask to see either. Retirement visa. There is no retirement visa for Italy. However, residency is easy if you are from a favored nation like the U.S. and many others. The U.S. Embassy reviews the Italian law and states Americans must have an entrance visa which should be obtained at an Italian consulate before coming to Italy in order to remain in Italy more than the 3 months and gain resident status. The procedure will take several weeks to complete, so it is advisable to apply well in advance of the departure date. The visa will be granted only for the time indicated on the application. Americans already in Italy without a visa will have to leave Italy to obtain one before they'll be able to gain resident status. That webpage also shares example requirements for permanent residence, such as proof of some Italian language and cultural knowledge within 2 years. Criminal report, proof of financial ability to maintain yourself, and various other documents. To obtain a 12-month residence permit in Italy requires showing 31,000 euros passive income from investment or retirement funds, which is considered the minimum amount needed to show financial stability for a year-long stay and can be extended for multiple years. You can probably do this yourself, but if you want a lawyer, rather than promoting any particular immigration lawyer I read about online, I would request a referral to a lawyer on one of the expat Facebook pages I shared above. I would ask the expats for an immigration lawyer who they have already personally successfully used to get their residence permits for Italy. I would not pay someone to help get me residency until I have confirmation from an expat who personally used their services to successfully gain residency. Italy is more about who you know rather than what you know. Okay, real estate. Apparently Americans and foreigners from many other nations can still own land in Italy. I found this apartment online for 120,000 US, right in the most central part of central Brindisi. Great area. Now, I would not buy real estate in a foreign country until I've lived there for an extended period of time, making sure I loved it after the honeymoon. I have a report explaining what to look out for and why if you're thinking about buying real estate. That's also in the links. I would also hire a lawyer who has no conflict of interest with me. Do not use a lawyer recommended by your real estate broker or your local lover. I would seek a referral from an expat who's used that lawyer's services to successfully buy real estate in Brindisi. Okay, Brindisi, Italy, overall retirement desirability score. I would say high. I love this part of Italy. It is cheaper and less crowded with tourism, but has many of the qualities that I love about Italy in the more famous places. Plus, it has that beautiful walking lifestyle that Europe excels at that's missing from my home country, the USA. But subscribe now, because the place I love most in this part of Italy, I'll share about next week. On the report, first link below this YouTube video, there's also a Brindisi, Italy Old Town walking tour. There, all the places that we stayed, where we stayed in Brindisi, how we got there to Brindisi from the previous city in Italy, all the restaurants, our favorite restaurants, bars, cafes, and also other services such as supermarkets. And there's also a Lecce day trip, beach tour, and all of that's also at that link, first link in the notes below this YouTube video. If you'd like to find out my top 15 places in the entire world to retire early for cheap, click the video in the upper right-hand corner of your screen right now.